Great day, kings and queens. Welcome to another conversation with Drew, where it's an honor to bless you with the gift that God has blessed me with, to share the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, of our Father, and, just to encourage, every single person in the world to become the best version of yourself. For this is a wonderful Wednesday, and there's so much to be grateful for on this wonderful Wednesday. Man, I just thank God, for life. I thank God for breath, that we're able to go into the day and be absolutely amazing. Yesterday is, man, it's gone forever. Stop struggling with it, but I want to come, and teach you, man, today on some principles and understanding, principle over emotion. Yeah, man, this is amazing, man. Great morning, Queen. It's amazing, when you understand the power of principles, laws, precepts. It changes your life forever. It makes things so much more simpler in life, man, and you're able to go in life and be so much more productive. Man, I just want to, share with you guys who've been following me, man. We've been dealing with the principle of forgiveness, and man, everybody knows, man, who've been following me, that God, blessed and restored the relationship with my earthly father through principle. You know what I mean? And it's just so amazing, to understand, the principle, man. If you haven't caught my video on forgiveness, man, the purpose and power of forgiveness, please do so. It's on my page, and it was so dope. What up, big bro? It was so dope, the fact that, the father changed an estranged relationship, from a father-son relationship that's been estranged for 32 years. He changed it in a matter of 20 minutes. Just had a conversation with my dad. We had our first conversation yesterday, man, and it was so amazing, man, just to, be able to have that conversation and hear, the jubilee in his heart, man. He was just so vibrant, he was just so upbeat. His exuberance was on high, and it was just such a blessing because, again, emotion had him feeling guilty, for the things that he did and didn't do over the 32 year process of my life. Emotion had me feeling resentment, for him not being in my life, him not being there to teach me how to get these ways, young players. Yeah, you understand me? Him not showing me how to, how to be a father, him not showing me, how to be a son, him not showing me, how to father my own children. That resentment built up over the years, but the principle of forgiveness changed it in a matter of 20 minutes. And this is why I'm telling you, principle over emotion. Behind principle is promise. Behind emotion is emptiness. And once you grasp this, your life, well, it has to change, because you begin to look for, thank you, Queen. You begin to look for, the laws of life, the principles of life. There are people who are out there who are successful, right? And they simply applied principle. They sought principle, and because they sought principle, it had to work, right? And so what we have to understand is that emotion was never designed for us to live by. Emotion wasn't designed for us to drive our empty vehicle. Emotion was designed to place behind the principle and push it and give it its power. And when you finally begin to understand that, you'll start looking at your life and say, okay, well, where am I being emotional at, as opposed to applying principle? Again, I was being emotional about my father. He was being emotional about his son. Therefore, because we were being emotional and there was no principle there, then we couldn't truly have a true relationship with one another. I'm talking about, this man has been 10-15 minutes away from me my entire life. That's crazy, right? 10-15 minutes away from me, but we never had a relationship. So, but what I understood is that it was principle lacking, right? The law of spirit of life in Christ, which is forgiveness. I forgave him. That condemnation left. He forgave me. That condemnation left. We forgave ourselves. That condemnation left. Therefore, life had to come back into something that was literally dead. So once you understand that, I had to let go of these emotions and step into principle, it had to work. There's principle to finances. There are principles to relationship. And then you put your emotions behind it. There's principles to marriage. You know what I mean? About loyalty, about trust, about communication, because law is a chemical. Law change. It'll go up and down, up and down, up and down. That what's going to keep the marriage together is the principle. Well, I make sure if I go do something, I always call and let my wife know. She makes sure that, things are done around the house. You know what I mean? He makes sure that he does certain things around the house. He makes sure it's principle. And then we put our emotion of love behind that. But if there is no principle, right? If there's no principle of loyalty, well, if I'm basing my marriage off of love, then I love my wife today, but then tomorrow she pisses me off. Well, there is no principle of loyalty. There's no principle of trust in the marriage, in the relationship. Then today, well, that bad one who was looking at me today and giving me that lustful wink, I'm gonna go ahead and slide in this bathroom with her. You know what I mean? And give her what she's looking for. Why? Because there's no principle, and you're just operating off of emotion. People are doing this constantly in their relationship. People are constantly doing this in business and finances. I got my check today, you know what I mean, emotionally, you know what I mean, I put in this long 2 weeks that it took for me to get this check. I'm gonna go ahead and pay a couple bills, but then I'm gonna slide over here to this Louis Vuitton store and get this bag, because it's emotion instead of saying no. Principle is I need to start stacking some money. I need to start saving at least 10%, paying myself 10%, saving 10%, begin to find something to invest that in. Why? Because I need another source of income other than this one that's not doing it. It's not sufficing. That's principle. So again, you begin to look at principle over emotion totally different. When I read the basic instruction before leaving earth, when I read that book, all I see is laws. I don't see scriptures. I don't even see stories. I see laws. Why? Because I understand that this earth is rotating on an invisible axis, which is a law. It's a principle. You know what I mean? The waters can't go, it can't go to a certain place in the ocean. It can't go to a certain place on land. Why? Because there's laws set that we cannot see, but they're operating, right? And so again, I don't have to use my emotions to try to dictate life when I just understand that principle dictates life. Find out what successful people do. Read their books. Take time to look at the law. Stop worrying about what they earn and start paying attention to what they learned. Right? Let me say that again. Stop worrying about what successful people earn and start paying attention to what they learn. And you'll just start seeing principles in life. That was just like, for instance, emotionally, I ate emotionally over and over and over again because I love food, right? So I ate emotionally, right? So what that was doing was that was taking me out of the law and the principle of being healthy. The law of health and wellness, the principle of health and wellness is be cognizant of what you eat. Pay attention to the things that you eat. There are certain foods out there that was created and designed for your body that are natural. Most of those foods are the foods of the earth. So that is fruit, that is vegetables. There are certain things that were created for your body that work specifically for your body, right? Emotionally, you'll say, well, I like Pepsi. Principle, your body is made up of 80% of water. So therefore, why would I drink all of that sugar that my body is not made up of, instead of drinking water where my body is made up of over 80% of water? It's principle, it's not emotion. So I need to learn the principle of drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water, 8-ounce glasses of water each day. Principle. So when I began to become cognizant of what I was eating, when I began to exercise 5 to 6 days a week, then literally the principle of health and wellness kicked in, and therefore I'm healthy for the last 7 years of my life, even though I was obese 25 years prior to that, and before I walked into a gym I was 300 pounds. Principle. It ain't have nothing to do with my emotions, right? Well, I don't feel like this today. Well, that's why you're getting the results you're getting, because you're putting emotion over principle instead of principle over emotion. And remember what I said earlier, behind principle is promise. Behind emotion is emptiness. And that's why you keep falling short in your life in certain areas of your life, because you're emotionally moving off of it. You're emotionally making decisions off of it, as opposed to just simply applying principle. Well, how do I become successful in my finances? Find out what the principle is. How do I become successful in my relationship? Find out what the principles are. How do I become successful in friendships? Find out what the principles are. I was just studying Dr. Miles Monroe, and he was talking about friendships, and he was saying the different levels to friendship. There's 4 levels of friendships. You have acquaintances, you have casual friendships, you have close friendships, and then you have intimate friendships. So that means that if you start your friendship off with a woman or a man on an intimate level, therefore it's going to fail. Because why? Because on a level of acquaintances, you begin to learn things like purpose. You begin to learn things like motivation. You begin to learn things like interest in that person, right? So therefore, this is protecting you from when you get to that intimate level to say like, man, who the heck am I sleeping with? You think what I'm saying? Like, because it's principle, and it don't have nothing to do with emotions. On the acquaintance level, you're supposed to establish our purposes. Are our purposes going in the same direction? Are we motivated by the same thing? Are our interests the same thing? Okay, if it is, now we can go to the level of casual relationships, where I begin to learn the things that are about you. I begin to ask you personal questions, things that you've experienced in life. This is on a casual level of friendship. I begin to learn, the things that you like, the things that you don't like, the things you love, the things you don't love, the things you need as opposed to what you want. And this is just a casual friendship. We're not holding hands, we're not kissing, and we're not jumping in the bed. So then when we move to a close friendship, I begin to help you go in the direction of your purpose. I begin to assist you in the direction of your purpose, of your interest, of what motivates you. And you do the same thing in return. And so again, this is principle. We're not talking about emotions, people. We're talking about principles. Why? Because the principle freed me and my father from a 32-year estranged relationship in a matter of 20 minutes. Because emotionally, I felt resentment, I felt anger and bitterness towards this man. Emotionally, he felt guilt for what he did or didn't do. And therefore, all we had to do was apply the law, apply the principle, and it changed. This is why I'm trying to express to you and show you that your mindset has to change to begin to look for principles. Whatever it is that you feel like you're lacking in, whatever it is you feel like is not happening in your life, you have to begin to find the principle of what it is that will bring success to it. It's just a reality, period. When a building is constructed, they have to use principle, right? Principle says that to every successful building in the earth, there's always a foundation that's laid before we begin to construct the walls. We begin to place the windows in. We begin to build the roof. We literally have to lay the foundation first, right? It's principle. It's not emotion. Emotion would say, well, what if I don't want to lay the foundation first and I just want to start building the side of the wall first? What? How can you? It's principle. Somebody just asked, how do I find the principles? Become conscious. I'm telling you, become conscious. It's this simple, right, kings and queens? This is why I love life, man. Life be cracking me up, man. This is why I love life, right? Pay attention to this. It's so simple. God has made things so simple, right? It's just like a car, right? If you notice a certain car that you've never noticed before, correct? I need y'all to pay attention. If you notice a car that you've never noticed before, correct? Watch how you began to automatically begin to see this car over and over and over and over again. In your mind, you start thinking that, man, this car, I've never seen this car before, but I began to see it over and over and over and over again. I just took my brother Keith Camp, to the Tesla dealership, and we was up at Tesla, and it was just so crazy. Literally, when we left, we just began to see Teslas. You know what I mean? Why? Because we literally just placed something in our mind that literally began to awaken us up to what it is that's right before us. You just couldn't see it. So to answer your question on how do you find principle, begin to literally program your mind and begin to say to yourself, I'm looking for principles. I'm looking for principles. And you will literally begin to become conscious of the principles that's been in your face the whole time. Literally. Pay attention. I love Mercedes S550 Benz. Most people can drive and not even pay attention to it, but I guarantee I'm gonna see at least one or two each day. Why? Because that's what's in my conscious and my unconscious mind. So literally, once you begin to place your mind there, you just been taught to pay attention to emotions. Or unconsciously. Nobody had to maybe consciously teach you that. It may have been unconscious, but the reality of it is that because that's what's been in your conscious and unconscious mind, then that's what you've been seeking. Once you literally begin to retrain and program your mind to pay attention to principles, it's everywhere. The whole Bible is laws. It's principles. As a man think in his heart, so is he. It's a principle. What's another one? Man, I can't even think about them. I have so much. But literally, that's the way that I look at life. Everywhere that I look for principle. I look for a law, and I say that this is something that's common across the whole board. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. That's a law. That's a principle. That's not a scripture. It's literally saying that according to your beliefs, according to your faith, then this has to work. So that means that if you have no faith, it won't work. That means that if you have grade D faith, then that's the level of what you're going to receive. You're going to receive grade D results. If you have grade B faith, then that's the level that you're going to receive grade B results. If you have grade A plus faith, then that's what it's going to be. Why? Because it's a principle. If an atheist has an idea and he wants to manifest this idea and produce it in the earth, right? He doesn't believe in God, but he has faith in producing this product that's in his mind, this idea. So once he began to take action, he began to plan for it, he began to work for it, and it comes to fruition. What happened? The law, the principle, the belief, the precept of God's truth came into manifestation, whether he believed in God or not. It's a principle. It's not religious. That's what people are missing. That's why people are so messed up, because they're emotionally living in ritual, which is religion. It's not. This earth wasn't designed by religion and for religion. This earth was designed by a king and from a kingdom that has laws, that has principles, and therefore that's the only way that life works. Period. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. According to your faith, according to your belief. We walk by faith, not by sight. Those are laws. Those are principles. Whatever measure you use shall be measured back unto you. Those are laws. Those are principles. I know I'm saying things and people are like, man, I heard that before. Absolutely. Why? Because it's the law. But you heard it from a jaded and a twisted perspective, so you thought it was a religion. That was a religious terminology. No, it was a law. And that's what God has been revealing to me, that these are principles. Be not conformed to the world. Why? Because in the world, you see a lot of negativity. You see a lot of evil. You see a lot of destruction, right? You see a lot of people who want things fast, right? You see a lot of lust. You see a lot of temptation. And that's why I say don't be conformed to the world, because the world, you see how fast it's moving. It's wanting things now. The law says, man, it's a process to everything, kings and queens. The law says, be not conformed to those things, and have an understanding that literally you have to transform yourself by renewing your mind. Literally working on this right here literally changes everything. That's a law. That's not a scripture by Uncle Paul. That's a law. Why? Because I come from poverty. I come from the hood. I come from gang banging. I come from drug dealing. I come from robberies. This is what I come from, right? How did I make it out? How am I on this Facebook Live teaching you truth? How am I on here speaking life into you? Why? Because I transform my life by renewing my mind. Principle. That ain't emotion. Emotion would have had me still out there smoking weed, hitting brawls, you know what I mean, being affiliated with drug dealers, gangbangers, so forth and so on. That's what emotion would have did. Why? Because that's what I grew up around, and that's what I loved. That's what I learned to love. But I had to renew my mind in order to transform my life. That's a law. Period. That's what you have to understand, that when you change this to begin to look for laws, to begin to look for principles, it'll take you out of the position of emotion. Emotion will get you killed. I come from the mud, the dirt, where I seen cats get killed over emotions. One principle, it was emotions. period. It'll put you in a box. Emotionally, you'll eat yourself to death. Emotionally, you say, this is what I enjoy eating because it make me feel good, but you got high blood pressure and diabetes that you can get rid of if you simply apply the principle of health and wellness. That's it. I hope I'm making it simple for you guys, because there's so much power in understanding principle and understanding law. It's just like, for instance, you emotionally driving 50 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour school zone area, and I'm cruising 50 miles per hour because emotionally I'm late. So when I get pulled over, you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a man that walks up, or a woman that walks up to the car, and they're going to tell you the law that you just broke. Well, officer, I was speeding because I'm blah, 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 blah. The officer going to say, look, check this out. You broke the law. Here go your ticket. I'll see you in court. But emotion is still like, but you just got to da, 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 da. Emotion. Law says you broke me. There are consequences. Therefore, when you're not applying the laws of life, the principles of life, you're breaking these bad boys. Man, what the feezy? Oh, man, you see how they try? You see that, man? I try to throw me off real fast. Yeah, I got this work for you guys this morning. But that's just the reality. You know, so when you understand that, you begin to consciously seek it. I'm reading books, man. You begin to look for it in books. You begin to look for it everywhere you go. You're consciously looking for laws. You're consciously looking for principles, people, because your emotions were created to put behind the principle, behind the idea, and then push it forward. But guarantee, if you remove the principle or the idea, what are you pushing? You're pushing air. You're willing air. The soul is comprised of three components: the mind, the will, and the emotion, right? So you see, behind the mind is what? The will. Behind the will is what? Is the emotions. Okay, what's behind the emotions? Absolutely nothing. So when you are emotionally making decisions and driving nothing, you will fall on your face every single time, kings and queens. Because the earth, the whole entire earth, go on top of your house right now and jump off. You know what's going to happen? Literally, the law is going to kick in to say that this is gravity and I am pulling you down emotionally. But I'm a believer in Christ, and it says that if I believe, so shall it be done unto me. I believe I can fly emotionally. Yeah, you just defied the law. You defied the law. You broke the law. You splat. That's what I began to understand. That once I took myself out of an emotional state of living and put myself in principle, and understand that there's laws that govern the earth. That's why it's laws in everything that we do. It's principles in everything that we do. There's rules in everything. Why? Because it gives you a foundation. So anytime you stray from the law, you can always come back, and it'll put you back in right alignment. That's just like a contractor. When a contractor is walking around, right, with that blueprint in his hand, that's principle. He's walking around with the principle of the building in his hand. So anytime that they mess up while constructing a building, all he has to do is unroll the principle. Well, what did the principle say about this corner over here? Well, it had to be a certain look. It had to have a certain height. It had to have a certain weight. Okay, well, let's go correct that, because the principle protects you. The principle brings you back and aligns you. Begin to search for principles, kings and queens. Whether in the word, whether in books, man, just begin to change your consciousness to say, I am looking for principles. I am looking for laws. And once you find them, your life has to change, because these laws are irrefutable and infallible. They can't fail you. They can't change. You can't go around them. But it makes life so much easier. Again, like my testimony is, my father and I's relationship was dead for 32 years. I'm 32. It was dead for the whole in 32 years. Listen to me. Emotion, right? It was dead. My father and I's relationship was dead for 32 years. I've never had a consistent relationship with my father for 32 years. He's been 10, 15 minutes top away from me my whole entire life. Emotion had me resenting him. Guilt had him not being a father, right? Emotion. We applied the principle of the law of forgiveness, and it broke it off our lives. We just had our first conversation yesterday that was absolutely amazing. And it's going to continue every day. because it was principle that was placed over emotions and it crushed it. Now we can put the emotions of our love and the excitement behind the law of forgiveness, and we'll have a relationship until we die. But do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's not about your emotion. Hey, how you doing, Amy? It's not about your emotions. It's about the principle. You want to learn how to be greater as a parent? Pick up some books. Learn some principles on parenting. There's certain things that you do and don't do. Who taught you how to be a parent? Your bad parent? Who cussed you out every day? Is that what you're going off of? I watch it every day. Every single day. I watch parents cuss their kids out. So you know what's going to happen? Their kids is going to grow up to cuss their kids out. Why? Because the parent who's cussing their kids out now, that's what their parents did to them. Who taught them how to be a parent? Nobody. So there's principles that teaches you how to do it, and it's okay. You don't know. Go read. It's okay. Put your ego aside. Go read. But it's principle, though. If you want to be better, if you want to be better in your relationship, pick up a book on relationships. There's certain principles that work, and people have been successful at it. And so all you do is just read them and then apply them. How easy is that? Instead of going through all this trial and error. Look, I done lived a life of trial and error. I didn't have a father. I didn't have a mentor. You know what I mean? I didn't have big brothers teaching me things. I literally lived by trial and error. And so that's not what you want to do, kings and queens. I promise you. You want to live on principle. But that's how I got to this place, because God knew, like, man, look, I got to hurry up and give my son this wisdom. You know what I mean? Before he crash and burn. Like, because that's all I had. But it taught me so much. I had to earn everything I have. But what I recognize, though, is that he made it so much more easy and simple for me once he aligned me up with principle. It made things come together. It made all things make sense. And it's literally just simple principle, man. It keeps you, it protects you, it guides you, it leads you. Just begin to shift your mind from emotions to principle, and begin to just say to yourself, man, I'm looking for principles. Begin to pray for principles. Begin to ask for principles. Begin to seek principles. To everyone who asks shall receive. To everyone who seeks shall find. It's law. That ain't got, again, that's not a scripture. It is a law. Literally. Look. Didn't you seek to get high? Did you not get high? Didn't you seek to be in a relationship? Did you not get that relationship? Didn't you seek to get a job? Did you not get that job? Didn't you seek to get a new car? Did you not get that car? I can go on and on. You hear what I'm saying? It's a law. Whether you was conscious or unconscious, it was a law. It kicked in, it worked. Period. Now that you're becoming more cognizant of life, now you're seeking the right relationship. You're seeking the right, not job. Let me correct that. You're seeking your gift. A man's gift make room for him and bring you before a great man, not a job. So you're seeking those things, right? You're seeking the right area to raise your family in. You dig what I'm saying? Now you become conscious and you begin to seek the truth now that you know that this is a law, right? Right. Well, man, God bless you guys. This is a wonderful Wednesday. I thank you guys for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you, kings and queens, you know, for all the hearts, for all the thumbs up, you know what I mean, for all the comments. I truly love you guys, man. It's such a blessing, man. Go ahead and flood me real fast. Let me get some love. I need some of that energy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I thank you guys. And it's such a blessing and honor, man, to truly, you know, be with you guys, man, and sharing this truth, knowledge, and wisdom, man. It really is, man. And I greatly appreciate you. But, man, I'm telling you, man, this principle thing will change your life forever once you understand it. Thank y'all, man, for that love and that energy. Yeah, flood me. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's principle over emotions. Please get that in y'all's heart, man. Truly, man, it's truly principle over emotions. Begin to become cognizant, and life will change forever. But check this out. Remember, it's not a look, it's a lifestyle. Because we do this every day not to impress people, but we do this to impress and leave our impression on the earth. I love you guys. God bless. Let me have a wonderful Wednesday. Peace.